In a world constantly teetering between hope and despair, between light and shadow, there comes a philosophical question that echoes through the ages. What is the meaning of life? The question is simple, yet it carries the weight of centuries of human struggle. What happens when the answer seems elusive, or, worse, when the very notion of meaning itself appears to dissolve? It is in this void, this unsettling uncertainty, that we find the profound crisis of nihilism. Nihilism, as Friedrich Nietzsche explores it, confronts humanity with a terrifying proposition: that life has no inherent meaning, no objective morality, and no guiding purpose beyond the individual's will to power. This philosophy has often been seen as a threat, a bleak outlook that paints existence as a barren wasteland of indifference. But Nietzsche's response to nihilism is not one of surrender. Rather, it is a call to transformation, to the creation of new values, and to the possibility of personal transcendence. Nietzsche doesn't simply present nihilism as a philosophical conundrum. He invites us to engage with it, to confront it, and ultimately to overcome it. In today's video, we delve deep into Nietzsche's vision of overcoming nihilism, a journey not just of intellectual discovery, but of personal transformation. Here on the Unfolding Journey channel, we explore philosophical ideas, historical movements, and personal growth strategies that encourage us to challenge the status quo and create more meaningful lives. If you're new to our community, welcome. We're thrilled to have you with us as we explore some of the most thought-provoking and transformative ideas throughout history. Whether you're a seasoned philosopher or someone just starting to explore these questions, we invite you to join us on this unfolding journey. In today's discussion, we will be exploring Nietzsche's profound confrontation with nihilism, his critique of traditional values, and how his ideas can serve as a roadmap for overcoming despair and finding new purpose in life. As we move forward, let's dive into the heart of Nietzsche's critique and the radical potential it holds for those willing to embrace its challenge. Nihilism, as Nietzsche describes it, is not merely a theoretical concept but a living, breathing force in the world. It arises out of the collapse of traditional structures of meaning, particularly the decline of religious belief in the modern era. In the wake of the Enlightenment and the rise of science, humanity found itself standing on the precipice of a world in which old certainties were no longer tenable. The death of God, as Nietzsche famously declared, signified the end of an overarching divine order that had once provided a sense of meaning, purpose, and moral grounding. This loss of transcendence, however, did not lead to a newfound sense of freedom, as many thinkers of the Enlightenment had hoped. Instead, it led to a sense of despair. If God is dead, what fills the void? The answer for many, Nietzsche argues, has been the rise of nihilism, a belief that life, without divine purpose, is ultimately meaningless. This nihilism is not merely intellectual or abstract, but manifests itself in practical ways. People, Nietzsche observed, begin to lose the will to live meaningfully. They become resigned to the idea that life is an endless cycle of suffering, devoid of any true significance. Nihilism, in this sense, is the ultimate crisis of modernity. It forces humanity to face the terrifying possibility that there is no inherent value or purpose to existence. And yet, Nietzsche did not view this as a catastrophe without resolution. Rather, he saw it as an opportunity, a crucible through which humanity could transform itself. To overcome nihilism is not to ignore it or to pretend it doesn't exist. It is to face it head-on and transcend it. At the core of Nietzsche's philosophy lies the concept of the will to power. This idea, which is perhaps Nietzsche's most famous and controversial, offers a radically different response to the question of meaning in life. Rather than searching for meaning in some external source, whether it be God, society, or tradition, Nietzsche argues that meaning must be created by the individual. The will to power is the fundamental drive within every human being to assert oneself, to grow, and to overcome obstacles in the pursuit of one's own goals and desires. In Nietzsche's view, life is not about passive acceptance or resignation to the inevitable suffering of existence. It is about actively shaping the world through our will, our creativity, and our ability to impose our values upon the chaos of existence. The will to power is not just a desire for dominance or control over others, as it is often misunderstood. It is the drive to overcome limitations, to become more than what we are, and to cultivate our potential. Through the will to power, Nietzsche offers a path beyond nihilism. Instead of surrendering to despair in the face of a meaningless universe, the individual can choose to create their own meaning. This creative act is central to Nietzsche's philosophy, and it represents his rejection of the passive nihilism that often follows the death of God. Instead of seeing the absence of objective meaning as a cause for despair, Nietzsche sees it as an opportunity for radical self-empowerment and transformation. One of Nietzsche's most famous and provocative ideas is that of the Übermensch, often translated as the Overman or Superman. The Übermensch represents the ideal of humanity who has overcome nihilism, transcended the constraints of traditional values, and created their own path in life. This figure embodies the fullest expression of the will to power, living in accordance with their own values, free from the burden of inherited moralities and social expectations. The Übermensch is not a perfect or flawless being. Rather, they are an individual who has embraced their own potential for greatness and has actively sought to shape their life through their own vision and strength. Nietzsche's Übermensch is not bound by conventional notions of good and evil. They create their own moral code, one that reflects their unique character and circumstances. This figure does not passively accept the values of society but instead challenges them, forging a new path that reflects their deepest desires and highest aspirations. The Übermensch is, in many ways, Nietzsche's answer to the crisis of nihilism. Whereas nihilism suggests that there is no inherent meaning in life, the Übermensch demonstrates that meaning is not something to be discovered. It is something to be created. Through self-overcoming, the individual can rise above the nihilistic void and become a creator of their own existence. Another central concept in Nietzsche's philosophy is the idea of eternal recurrence. Nietzsche asks us to imagine that our lives, with all their joys and sorrows, successes and failures, are destined to repeat themselves infinitely, exactly as they have been lived. This thought experiment is designed to challenge the individual to evaluate the way they live their life. If you knew that every moment, every decision, every experience would be repeated eternally, would you live differently? For Nietzsche, the concept of eternal recurrence serves as a test of transformation. To embrace the idea of eternal recurrence is to affirm life in its entirety, both the beauty and the suffering, the highs and the lows. It is a call to live authentically, to embrace each moment fully, and to affirm your existence regardless of its impermanence. The individual who can joyfully embrace eternal recurrence is the one who has truly overcome nihilism, as they no longer seek to escape life's challenges, but instead embrace them as integral parts of their unique journey. In confronting nihilism, Nietzsche offers a profound path toward personal transformation. The process of overcoming nihilism is not easy, and it is not without its challenges. It requires a willingness to face the darkness of existence and to create meaning in a world that offers no inherent meaning. It demands a commitment to the will to power, to self-assertion, and to the courage to live authentically. But for those willing to take this path, Nietzsche offers the possibility of a radical revaluation of values, a life lived in accordance with one's deepest desires and aspirations. In the face of nihilism, Nietzsche does not offer an escape. Rather, he invites us to embrace life fully, to create new meanings, and to forge our own path toward greatness. This path is not easy, but it is one that leads to true personal transformation. By overcoming nihilism, the individual does not merely survive. They thrive, creating a life of purpose, power, and self-determination. As we explore Nietzsche's ideas and his vision for overcoming nihilism, we realize that his philosophy is not just a critique of the modern world, but an invitation to personal transformation. Nietzsche challenges us to confront the darkness of nihilism and to emerge from it stronger, more self-aware, and more fully alive. It is a call to create meaning, to transcend our limitations, and to become the best version of ourselves. Thank you for joining us on this journey of exploration. If you enjoyed today's video and want to continue exploring ideas that challenge conventional thinking and promote personal growth, be sure to subscribe to the Unfolding Journey YouTube channel. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you view Nietzsche's philosophy, and what does overcoming nihilism mean for you? We look forward to seeing you in our next video as we continue unfolding the mysteries of philosophy, self-growth, and transformation. Remember to subscribe and be part of this ongoing journey, one step at a time, together.